Yesterday, I was discussing about the resource and assimilation and environmental service, the three main resource and the three main service that the environment is providing us. And because of that, you know, from that point of view, we say that in the market, we give price, we assign price based on the utility that we get. And in this perspective, if we see the environmental is giving us a huge value. Okay, if we talk about the resource that we are getting from the environment, it's also very huge because we see like the supply of the resource in terms of oil, resource in terms of energy, every sense the resource that the environment supply to us is very huge. And then the second point is the assimilation, even the assimilation also. Whatever waste we generate, we are not taking up to ourselves, but whatever waste we generate, we always throw back to the environment. And then the environment again have to act in such a way that those waste will again, take it and then assimilate it and then make it again a new environment again. This way, these are the actually role of the environment. And if we talk about the role, and if we have to assign the value based on the role that the environment has played, then the value must be very much high. But because of that, there is no property right, and public and the environment itself is a pure public good. Because of that, we are not able to give the value that we are getting from the environment. So this was the problem. And I just want to show you these things. These are the resource we get from the environment. If we talk about the renewable also, we have so many renewable energy, and then non-renewable also, coal se leke oil, then electricity, everything we get it from the environment. This see for energy purpose, we have a dam, which actually is we are directly extracting whatever available energy we can find from the environment. We just get it and then we just take it, and then we extract timber, we extract oil also. And this way, these are just a glimpse of whatever we are getting as a resource from the environment. But beyond that also, there are many things which the environment give us as a resource. For that is why I said that if we have to value, we have to assign the market price, then the price or the value must be very, very high. But since there is no property right, since the environmental goods is all about, the no property right system, or since there is the characteristics of pure public goods, because of that, we are not assigning the price. But again, whatever may be, we fail to value the price, or we fail to give value to the environment. Because of that, it has no property right. But we also have to find some other ways to value them. And that is what our discussion is about. So I say that based on the unique characteristics, based on the magnificent characteristics, we try to assign or we give value to the environment goods. So because of these three unique characteristics, first is irreversibility, the second is uncertainty, and the third is uniqueness. So because of these three things, because of these three magnificent characteristics of the environment, we have to value the environment. Okay, before I was saying that environment has three main roles for our economic activities. Okay, that means environment is playing a three role of economic function, or it gives us three main role for our economic activities. Now I said that this three is the magnificent, this three is the characteristics of environment. And because of this environment, we have to value the environment, though it is not possible for the market system to give us a system where we can give value to the environment. But because of these three characteristics, that is irreversibility and uncertainties and uniqueness, because of that we have to value the environment. So let us first talk about irreversibility. Environment goods is generally an irreversibility. One, it's gone, it won't, it won't come back. Like if we talk about the non-renewable resource, we are extracting every day. Of course, the stock are enormous. The stock are very means that the quantity of stock of all the natural resources is very much high. But you see, once the stock is over, it is not going to come back. So please keep in mind this thing. First is irreversibility. That means once it's over, it cannot replace. And the second thing is uncertainties. It can happen anytime. You know what, the situations can arise anywhere, anytime. So I say that the overuse effects on ecological balance can have unexpected catastrophic. Just I want to show you something. No one can say when these things happen. And this is the forest fire. I just want to show you the glimpse of how uncertain is the environment because of our economic activities. And sometimes this happen even through its natural process. Because of that, these are uncertainties. And this is the glimpse from picture taken from Sikkim. This is landslide. Okay, the topsoil of the particular plot just slide down, and because of that, many houses get affected. Many houses wash away this way. These things are very uncertain when this happen. So I was talking about these uncertainties. And irreversibility is the thing that which cannot return once it is over. So if we use about the examples of oil, examples of other minerals like oil and all, once the extraction is, the extraction is to such extent that if it exhausts, if the natural stock of our resource get over, then we cannot replace it with something, or we cannot get it. It doesn't have any regenerative system. Okay, so the stock is always limited for especially for the non-renewable resource. And I also say that even the non-renewable resource is also very important for the sustainable development. And the second thing is uncertainties. If we overuse something, or if we extract more, then it is likely that the uncertainties will be more. Of course, it is very uncertain for the environment. It can happen anything, anywhere. But, to increase the level of uncertainties is because of our economic activities. If we over extract, if we overdo of all our economic activities, it is likely that the uncertainty will increase. As I have said, it can create a problem of forest fire, and then landslide, and then flood. Those are very common. So, and apart from this, the other thing is uniqueness. Uniqueness is nature's unique beauty. It's not replicable. So I just want to show this. This is just the beauty, how it is beautiful, how beautiful it is, and we cannot replace with something which can satisfy us. Okay, so I have shown just for the just for understanding. So first I talk about the irreversibility, and the second thing is uncertainties, and the third thing is uniqueness. So because of this because of these characteristics, because of these important characteristics, we have to value the price, or we have to value it. May be in terms of price, or it may be in terms of volunteer action taken for the environment. We may not be directly paying some money, but instead our activities, our concern for the environment must go this way by taking concern about these three unique characteristics. Here I also mention one thing. I also want to mention irreversibility. That means the more we extract non-renewable resources, the more we are going to experience the, entropy. I think you have heard about thermodynamics, which we have studied in our, maybe in the school days, thermodynamics, where you have studied about energy cannot be, generated. Energy can just be, transformed into something else. And then, the more energy you use, the more entropy it will generate. It means something like, the more wasteful it will generate. So the first, in the first point, you will just see this thing. The more we use the non-renewable resource, the more we may experience the growth of entropy, which means the rise of waste, which means the rise of byproducts. So those energy, those non-renewable energy cannot create or cannot regenerate, but we have to transform it in other use. But we have to take care that this overuse of energy can create something else. Okay, and the second point in uncertainties, I also want to mention with examples. Like if we think about the examples of, India. India in 1960s introduced the Green Revolution. The simple idea was like this. Agriculture experts, just want to increase the level of productions of agriculture products. Because of that, they say that, there is also one concept called eco-geochemical cycle, which is something like, matters get moved from biotic to abiotic, which actually can create all life support for all the matters, for all the living creatures. And it is the process that give energy. It is the process that give all the matters need for the living beings to survive. And if we follow this way, it has its own natural process to help everything, like all living things, especially the plants and the trees and the other reptiles, other biodiversity to survive on Earth. So this is a natural process. But in 1960s, because of different situations, the food, demand was increasing so much. And because of that, the situation was such that the supply must increase. So because of that, scientists and experts, they decided to just, introduce something scientifically so that the, the eco-geochemical cycle can be removed, or the limitations of eco-geochemical cycles can be removed, and introduce something else which can generate, or which can create, or which can increase the productivity of the agricultural products. So this way they have introduced with high yielding variety of, seed, or HYV, which was introduced in 1960. But because of that, for some short period of time, the productivity was increased very fast. The productivity of, some specific crops has increased to a very high. But what happened after, 30-40 days, after 2 or 3 decades, we could see that with some of the research paper, there it shows many specific disease has come up, and then the productivity of other crops has gone down. And in that period, like in those 1960, with the introductions of this green revolutions, the productivity of only specific crops has increased, like wheat and other crops. Only 2 or 3 crops has increased the productivity. That was actually helpful for the Indian economy to, export the productions of wheat. But because of that, the productions of other products, like other vegetables, has affected because of lots of other, plant disease, other pesticides, other, other what to say, other insects and other different kind of harm actually was come to the plants. Because of that, the productivity of other crops has gone down, and even the soil quality was degraded, even the water level was gone down. And because of that, the natural process was stopped because of the introductions of the scientific method of increasing the productivity. And because of that, the productivity for some specific crops was increased, but the effect was negative for other crops. So people doesn't know, or people could not understand what uncertainties can happen because of the introductions of this green revolution. So people started introducing green revolution, and for some short period they could get a good result. But after some years, because of the green revolutions, there are so many negative impacts to the land, to the fertility, and to the crops, and to everything. So I say it, environment is very uncertain. Please keep in mind. And the uniqueness, yes, uniqueness in the sense there are so many, you cannot number it. We have countless numbers of flora and fauna, and biodiversity. The more numbers of biodiversity, the more food chain it will create, and this way there will be countless of plant and trees and animals, and then flora and fauna. But if this chain get disturbed, or if there is if there happens to be disturb for some of the animals, or for some of the type of flora and fauna, it will definitely impact the biodiversity. So the less biodiversity, it will create a problem to life supporting for all the flora and fauna. So what I mean to say here is that the chain must not get disturbed. So the more flora and fauna is there, that means there is likely to have more biodiversity. So uniqueness is one of, again, the important characteristics of environmental goods and service. So this is just one of the pictures that I have shown you, that how the beauty of environment is. But apart from this also, if you imagine about the Amazon forest or whatever, you will see lots and lots of biodiversity. Means all species of animals, all species of bird, you will see different species. And the more different species, the more diverse species we have, the more will be biodiversity. And in this way, the uniqueness of environmental will be more and more. And then the more uniqueness we have, the more will be a good thing for the environment and for our lives and for our life as well. So based on these three unique features, economists actually want to value the environment: irreversibility, uncertainties, and uniqueness. So these three uniqueness, these three characteristics of the environment give us different value. Now I explained that these three are the characteristics of the environment, and these three characteristics of the environment is very important. And here the three characteristic has giving, or that these three characters is giving us value in different forms. First of all, just talk about this uniqueness. That means the existence of something we may not need directly. For example, the endangered the endangered African elephant. We don't need that. Of course, we cannot think in this way, like we may use the African elephant for forests or for safari purpose, but we may need it, or we may not need it, but their existence actually can create a positive impact for the biodiversity. So This uniqueness of the environment give us the existence value. That means the existence of some specific, some unique species can give us value, and that value is called existence value. And in this way, even the uncertainties, that means environment is so uncertain that though we can get many resource from the environment, but if we cannot, careful, if we are not careful, the impact can happen at any time. So we have to be careful of that point also. So because of this, how many value, or what are the values that the environmental is giving to us? Let us discuss that. So I said this is the three characteristics of the environment, and because of these three characteristics, we are getting different kind of values. So just see this. The special features of the environment gives values in different forms. Number one, first is user value. The second is existence value. And the third is option value. So because of the three characteristics, or because of the three special features of the environment, we are getting this. First of all is the user value. That means because of the environment, we are getting provisions of safe drinking water. This is one of the small examples. But apart from this also, like fresh oxygen, and then I also said about the resource that we get from the forests. All these things, these are actually we are directly getting from the environment. If we have forests nearby, we can easily get timber. We can easily get some firewood and all these things. So user value, that means we can use it for our benefit because of the environment. And number second is existence value. As I have said about this is actually non-use benefit. In Kaziranga, whatever type of species are there, we don't use it directly, but we want their existence. That is what we think. Every people value this way. We are not going to get any benefit from all the species that is present in Kaziranga National Park as of now, but we value their existence, and their existence actually give us some benefit, some some moment of pride. And this is actually a non-user benefit. We are not going to use it, but it gives some benefit. We could see the diversity of we could see the diversity of all the biological, and we could see all the diversity of species which actually create life support for each other, and that scenic beauty give us some benefit. So we may not use it directly, but it's indirectly give us benefit. So this is what called existence value. And another thing is option value. That means environment leave the option of its use for open for the future. That means this environment, if we preserve it for the future generation, then the future generation can get the value, can get the user value and the existence value. That means we can make this as option. Okay. So we have the environment, we have the forest covered area, we have the different kind of biodiversity, we have different kinds of flora and fauna. Okay, now if we preserve this, if we preserve and leave it for the future are not going, the future will definitely get this. That means it can give us option value. We can make this existence of all the environment and keep it for the future generation. That means we can keep this environment as option for the future. So these are the three benefits that we are getting directly or indirectly from the environment. First thing I said, user value, and this user value actually give us by in this user value means it is the direct value that we are getting from the environment. We are directly using the fresh water, fresh air, and all the resource from the forests, from the water. We are using it for our daily need, we can say, or direct need. And this existence value, this has also a value, because suppose because of flood, the Kaziranga National Park is affected, and because of that, people voluntarily come and ask for donation. You will definitely have the sympathy in your mind, and you will have the compassion to give some money for protections of the animals in the Kaziranga National Park. So this way, their existence are giving some value to us. Because of that, we value them. So voluntarily we will think of giving some money as donations for the protections of animals because of the flood affected in Kaziranga. So this is actually how existence value work, because I said that their existence give us some value, and because of that, if because of something, if they are affected, if the animals, if all the national park are affected, then we are definitely will give something for donations, so that those animals can be safe. So this way, their existence give us some feelings, and because of that, we are ready to pay. And this actually, we are valuing the environment. And the third thing is option value. That means, suppose you have a forest covered area beside your land, and that area give you something. Because of that, you value that particular area, and that particular area of forest covered area, you can make it as option for the future. You can keep it for the future use for your children, or you can use it for your future generations. This environment actually give us option value. That means we can keep it as option. This is what I mean to say. Now, so these are the value we are getting from the environment. And so we have to value this based on these three things. Because of these three unique characteristics, we are getting this value. First is user value. The fresh oxygen we are getting, the fresh drinking water we are getting. Now, the total economic value is actually actual user value plus option value plus existence value. So these are the actually value that we are getting. So total economic value is actual user value plus option value plus existence value. So in total, we are getting this much value. Now, how can we value this? Because these are the total value that we are getting, and this is measured in terms of economic value. And we are getting the economic value, and our economic value is getting from actual user value from the environment, option value from the environment, and existence value of the environment. So these are the three economic value we are getting from the environment. Now, the answer is, how do we value? The question is, how do we value? How can we value this? For example, if it is only user value, for example, let's say that the environment is giving only the user value. That means, if it is the case, then we can simply give some value by setting some standard. For example, if the environmental is degrading to some point, then you need to pay some tax. Or if the environmental is degraded because of the pollution, because of the carbon dioxide, or because of the CO2 emissions of one particular industry, then we can definitely assign tax to that particular industry who is polluting the level of CO2. And in this way, let's say a pharmaceutical company dumps some toxic chemicals waste in the river, and because of that, because of their entire dumping, we can charge some penalty. This way, we can value the environment by taxing. But then we are not getting only the user value from the environment. We are getting value from the option also, because the total economic value is actual user value plus option value plus the existence value. So I said market system can work if there is only actual user value. If we are getting from the environment only the actual value, only the actual user value. Because of that, you know, let's say we enjoy the environmental service and because of that we need to pay. If this is the case, then market system may work to assign the value, or market system can give us some advice to so that we can value the environment. But we are getting not only the actual user value. On top of this, we are getting option value and the existence value. So because of these three, you know, value we are getting, market system cannot function. I said if only we are getting user value, then some point we can use market mechanism to value the environment. But here the economic value, the total economic value we get from the environment is the combinations of three, that is the existence value, the option value, and the actual user value. And because of that, you know, market systems of valuations will not work here. So let us move to another slide where I want to say, is it visible here? Okay, so the total economic value is of user value and non-user value. Non-user value में क्या है? Existence value and option value. So see this, if our economic value is only based on user, that means whatever value we are getting is that because of our direct use. Let's say अभी कितना मैंने फ्रेश पानी मिला, उसके लिए सिर्फ वैल्यू देना है, तो वो based on market mechanism I can value the environment. But environment is not providing only the user value, it also provides the non-user value. And non-user value means what? The existence value. I was talking about the flora and fauna. We don't need them directly, but their existence has giving some value. अगर वो exist करने के लिए, अगर वो exist है, उसीलिए हमको कुछ benefits दे रहा है, तो उसको हम कितना price देगा? That is very difficult. Even the option value. Suppose I preserve a particular forest covered area. वो preserve करने के लिए हमको कुछ value देता है, लेकिन वो कितना हमको value दिया, वो exactly हमको पता नहीं चलता है. I cannot definitely say how much benefits I'm getting, but something I'm getting. So because of that, you know, it's very difficult from the market system to give value towards that environment. But user value, we can somehow, you know, establish the market mechanism to value, because I am directly getting the environmental service, for example, fresh water, fresh air. Because of that, user value can be set up. For example, the air quality index of today is this, okay? And if that air quality index has improved, then you may definitely willing to pay something, or the government or the authority may decide this way. If the air quality index is improved by 2%, then people are compelled, or people will have to pay, let's say 2 rupees per person. So definitely some kind of price can be set this way if this is user value. But I said the total economic value that we get from the environment is not only the user value, we are getting the non-user also, the existence value and the option value. Because of that, you know, we have two parts. So I say if there is only one part, then we can you know, value the environment based on actual market based valuation. That means we can use the market system of valuation. And then in this, what type of calculations we will have? In market system, we use this one, objective standard base, and then subjective preference base. So these are the method. That means if we are getting only the user value from the environment, then we can establish the market mechanism for valuing the environment. And in market mechanism, we have this objective standard based valuation and subjective preference based valuation. So these are the two methods where we can establish the market system to value the user value. But I say that the total economic value that we are getting from the environment is not only the user value, we get the non-user value also. And what are the non-user value? The non-user value is the existence value and the option value. Option value means what? We are not going to use. We are going to keep that forest covered area for the future generation so that they may enjoy. So this way, this is non-user. That means we are not going to use that, for now, but we are getting value. The forest covered you preserve for your future generations. You are not getting the value because you are preserving. Of course, you may get the value. That is why you have something feelings about that. But then that is, totally non-user. You are not using it. So even that also you are getting value. We are not using whatever we are preserving for our future generation. We are not using it, but we are getting the benefit. And then the existence of African elephant, the existence of tiger, the existence of, let's say, peacock in our country, those are actually nothing for us. We are not getting any kind of direct benefit, but then their existence are giving some value. So the total economic value that the environment give us is in the form of user value and non-user value. And I said, if it is only user value, we can establish something that is market mechanism to value the environment. But because of another thing which we are getting from the environment, that is the non-user value, that is the existence value and the option value. Because of that, we cannot use the market system to value how much the environmental is giving us. So here, instead of market system, we have to establish something different. We have to establish some other method to establish the value or to calculate the value of how much the environmental is giving us. So just see in option value. Okay, in option value, you will get future use value. That means if you preserve today, the future you will get value. And option value may or a value here, that is bequeathed value. That means this value is for the this is actually when you preserve something, when you preserve a forest covered area, your son or daughter may use it. And in vicarious value, let's say you have preserved the forest and this forest can be used by anyone in the future. You open it for all. This is called vicarious value. So ये तीन वैल्यू के लिए कैसा मेथड चाहिए हमको उसका वैल्यू मेजर करने के लिए? We have three value for option. If we keep option of that particular reserve forest for the future, then the future will get benefit in these three ways. And जिहेतु आमी a three ways or para benefits पाम, so तार कारणे आमी केनेकुआ value करें. And this is the method. This is called stated preference method. That means तुम्ही हे तुम्हार preference किमान तार ऊपर तुम्ही भाभी पेलाई हेरी कोरा तो है हे कोरा system तो है stated preference method. तार माने तुमाक हुडी means people will ask you, the environmental expert will ask you, because of the because of the number of animal existence in Kaziranga, we are getting benefit this and that, they will say. And then at the end of the time, you will be asked, आप कितना value उसको देगा? How much voluntarily you want to pay? This is actually stated preference method. This way we can value the non-user value. Okay, and the another thing, once you state the value of how much you can give, then this way we can construct a market. It's a hypothetical market. Here it's a true market, but here we have to construct a hypothetical market. Suppose for the existence of animal, if you are ready to pay, let's say 500 as donation, if other also ready to pay 500 as donation, that means that 500 will be assumed that this much people value for the existence of the biodiversity. So this way you will set the supply side and the demand side, which is a constructed market or a hypothetical market, or sometimes it also called as experiment market. And the last point is, after this whole factor, you can establish contingent valuation method. You can establish this after establishing the constructed market or the hypothetical market. Then only this is the final stage of the valuations of this non-user value. Okay. And in this side, if we are getting only the user value, then we can establish the market system. In market system, you will see you can set a standard or you can set a subjective preference. This subjective preference is same with this state preference method. Okay. And if you set the objective, as I have said that, the air quality index of Jorhat is, improved by 1%. So the authority can say that if there is improve of 1% in air quality index, then everyone should pay 1 rupees as, voluntary tax or something. So this way the method can be established. So after establishing that, the government can come up with this calculation, which is called travel cost method and the hedonic pricing method. So these are all the method. First is travel cost, hedonic pricing, and the contingent valuation method. So these are the main method for valuations of the environment. And these two method is purely based upon the market system, and this contingent valuation method is based upon the stated preference method. That means you have to state how much voluntarily you are offering for something which is just existence, which is just, exists and you are not getting the direct benefit. Okay. So yeah, these are the valuation method, and this whole term, if we studied it, then our discussion will be finished after discussing this. Okay, so this is the entire discussion of today. If you have any doubts, then you may ask questions in the next class. And please remind me that today I have to give you these notes. Maybe your mind sab kuch chal raha hoga. You may not be able to understand now, but it takes time. Of course, you will definitely understand, but please read today, okay? Because enekwa hoy a last unit to eta topic ote gutei topic ase. Mane I cannot teach you a separate part by part. That means the entire thing is linked. So because of that, I have to speak from A to Z at a time. So today I have spoken A to Z at one go, and from tomorrow maybe possible, if you understand something, then I may teach you part by part. Okay, so okay, thank you for joining the class. And Mitul, yeah, you can stop the recording now. And Mitul, stop.